Well, I'm sure you've all heard by now that the BBC is about to probably come crashing down more than likely. Obviously, the other day, Tim Davie, the BBC's boss, quit, along with the person in charge of their news output, as far as I'm aware. And it just leaves me to ask one question. Could this possibly be the moment that the license fee, or the dreaded TV license fee, should I say, is finally on the way out? And it looks like it could be, because some politicians are calling for the BBC licence fee to be ditched in its current form, and Nigel Farage is leading the charge, saying that this telly tax can't just hang on longer and it is wholly unsustainable. Meanwhile, of course, the BBC's chair, Shami Shah, I hope I pronounced that right, and the bigwigs at the BBC are unfortunately pushing back against claims of bias in their news report, and they just can't see it, can they? But meanwhile, over in Westminster, Farage, who obviously is the leader of Reform UK, reckons the BEEB has been institutionally biased for decades, and he thinks that the corporations should be trimmed down to focus on news and let sport and entertainment basically fight it out with other subscriptions. Farage said, when it comes to entertainment and when it comes to sport and many other areas like that, well, they should just compete against everyone else for a subscription model. And that is the modern world that we live in. And he is totally right, isn't he? Why should one channel or network decide that it can charge people for watching other channels live, like ITV? If you watch them live, you have to pay at the moment, or legally pay at the moment, the BBC to do so. And it should not be like that, should it? It's like paying ASDA for the ability to shop in Tesco's. And the BBC, they just don't seem to get this. We are not in the 1950s anymore. And as soon as they realise that, they're better. And in 2027, when their Royal Charter protection expires, hopefully then they will then get the massive virtual kick in the gonads that I think they'll need. And with every biased thing that comes out is surely going to add to a lot more of people cancelling their TV licence as a result. Nigel also added that the licence fee as it currently is cannot survive. It is wholly unsustainable. And he is adamant that unless the BEEB sticks to straight news, it has no future at all. And he is right, isn't he? Because if the public is paying for this, then it should be impartial. I think if you are the new BBC Director General or boss or whatever you want to call him, you might have to look that word up in the dictionary a little bit more better. Right now, of course, the BBC TV licence costs £174.50 a year. The thing is, though, I've heard this is apparently going to go up to 180 something next year. And I don't know about you, but I am pretty sure that I can find a much better use for that money. And who knows, perhaps if Trump does sue the BBC, as he has reportedly said to do, for apparently £1 billion from what I've heard, if they don't apologise, then perhaps they might have to push that number up a little bit higher. The thing is, if they do that, then more and more people are going to cancel as a result. And I don't know about you, but I think for the BBC to edit that clip of Donald Trump to make it sound like he said something which he didn't, to potentially cause incitement or whatever else, was totally disgraceful and not even impartial in the slightest. And it's no wonder why those two had to resign, in my opinion, because let's face it, we do as a country have a special relationship with America, and therefore to make their leader out to look like something he's not is an absolute insult, in my opinion. Annual reports show there were 23.8 million licenses in force this year, which is down 300,000 from 2023 to 2024. And this drop has cost the struggling corporation an estimated £50 million in revenue. Downing Street is, of course, keeping quite quiet on whether the licence fee is up for a chat in the next charter review. But a spokesman for Keir Starmer mentioned, we are preparing for the upcoming charter review, which is expected to launch in due course, and it will consider a range of issues, including how the BBC can continue to prosper, supported by a sustainable funding model. Tory leader, though, Kemi Badenoch, warned that if it wants to justify the licence fee, the BBC needs to reflect a broad spectrum of views in Britain, and she said those of us who actually believe in the institution are trying to save the BBC from itself. Ex-Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries slammed the licence fee as a regressive tax, which criminalises people who don't pay it for not watching the television. It is so far outdated, and she is totally right, in my opinion. She told The Times, it defies explanation. The BBC licence fee, that was my issue. I do not believe I should be paying a licence fee to watch my television. And yes, we are living in the 21st century, not the 20th or even the 19th. Even, of course, they didn't have TVs then. But what are you working about this? Let me know down in the comments.